So one of the most commonly questions we get is, how do I know that my families are engaging with the program? And we think that's a really important question. Ready for K and parent-powered programs are intentionally designed to be delivered via text messages because research shows that 98% of text messages are read, and this is significant, especially when compared to emails, which have a less than 25% open rate in the field of education. We know how easy it is to pick up your phone and read messages. However, the flip side of this simplicity is that data doesn't exist on who opens them compared to emails, which are more complex in design, and so there is more data available on them. Just like you, we were also curious about how often parents read our messages. We studied this hypothesis in Minnesota, where one group of parents received the Ready for K text messages, another received a mobile application, and a third group received parent modeling videos. We found that nearly all the parents read the Ready for K messages and found them easy to do and helpful. By comparison, only about half the parents downloaded that mobile app, of which 60% read the content, and only 55 to 60% found the activities easy to do and helpful. And 40% of the parents watched the parent modeling videos. So research about text messages being read is really strong, both from the field and our own studies. And while there is no direct way to tell you exactly how many messages were read by your specific set of families, we do have research that we can rely on. But that's not it. We have multiple other ways to answer your questions. First, we look at the surveys, and Maya is going to dig into survey data shortly. Each quarter, we conduct family engagement surveys, and we leverage them to ask families directly about whether they read our messages. One of the questions we very commonly ask parents is, how often do you read the messages? And 93% of families, and this is an all-time average, tell us that they read the Ready for K messages. Another metric we're interested in learning about is whether they find it easy to read and understand our messages, because those are key. If messages are long or lengthy or difficult to read, the readership and engagement will decline. To this end, we ensure that all our messages are written at a third grade reading level to ensure ease and access. So another question we ask families is, how easy are Ready for K messages to read and understand? And an astounding 98% of families tell us that they find the Ready for K messages easy and helpful. And this is yet another indicator of how many parents are reading our messages. And finally, taking it a step further, we ask families, how often do they do the activities that we send them? Because we know that ultimately we care about whether parents are engaged and reading the messages because we want them to engage with the activities prescribed by our program. So another question we ask is, how often do you do the Ready for K activities with your child? And not surprisingly, 88% of families tell us that they do the activities at least once per week. So you can use any or all of these survey results from your families found in your dashboard to examine how often your parents are engaging with the messages. Another way of gauging whether parents are engaged is by the message click rates. And for those of you whose families are receiving the trauma-informed program and those who are leveraging our custom message feature to send out your own messages, we have click data available for messages that contain web links. And although smaller, this can be used to understand how often parents are engaging with the Ready for K messages. So let's take a look at the dashboard to see where you can find this click data. So you'll navigate to the messages and surveys page, and and then we scroll down to the sent messages section. There it is. And let's find a message that was sent recently. So let's look at the one from November 10th. And that says, connect. As a parent, you support your child as they learn and grow. It's normal to have questions along the way. To learn more about things they might learn and do at each new age and phase, visit, and then we have a web link in there. And you can see on the right that we tell you, our system shows you how many families have received that message, how many clicks there were, and who clicked on this resource. And here, I just want to take a moment to point out that we should evaluate the click rates based on the content. For example, if we're sending a resource about food pantries, we really don't want 100% of the families clicking on that link because it would mean that all your families are in need of food assistance. So it's really important to contextualize this click data. And the good news is that click data is downloadable by each question separately or as an aggregate of all questions at the top. Yep. At the top of the sent messages section. There it is. And you can use this click data to get an understanding of how many parents are engaging with a given resource. And finally, we have another metric that we commonly use to understand whether parents are engaged with our program, and we call that metric the persistence data, the persistence rate. Persistence rate measures the number of families that are currently enrolled in the program as a proportion of all the families that were ever enrolled. Simply put, persistence refers to the act of continuing to stay enrolled in Ready for K. And we know that matters because families have the option to opt out, but they choose to stay enrolled. And that is an indicator of how helpful Ready for K is to them. And I say this because I get so many text messages from my favorite brands that I've subscribed to very optimistically, but I end up opting out because they drive me crazy. But there are some that I've stayed enrolled in because I do love the information they share. It is really easy to opt out of Ready for K messages. So if parents are staying enrolled in the program, it points to their engagement. Therefore, it's a great metric of parents reading the messages and being engaged with the program. And how do you calculate persistence? You simply take the number of active families found in your data and analytics page and divide it by the total enrollment. Summing it up, research shows that 98% of text messages are read, but you can use the persistence rates, the click data, and the survey data from your family data on the Ready for K dashboard to see how engaged your families are with our programs.